Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats, talking everything to make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. Get some weed and now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. All right, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Cinema Surprise, brought to you by us, the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today, we continue with Joseph's third pick. He's picked Tron Legacy. He's picked the Book of Eli. It is time today for Babylon. Released on December 23rd, 2022, written and directed by Damien Chazelle. I am Colton Robertson. I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you, especially today. I was so pleased when you picked Babylon. I don't, if for those who listened last week, I may have burst your eardrums with my reaction.
Mm-hmm.
But I love Babylon. This was my second viewing. I'm very high on it. This was your first viewing. How are you feeling about Babylon?
Yes. Yeah, the first movie here where I didn't know what to expect because I haven't seen it, and I'm very glad I chose it as well. This was it's, but I don't know, a lot of things in this movie are things that I felt already, but I haven't had anything I can point to be like, just watch this, and then that's kind of how I view Hollywood and movies, and just what like the good in movies are meant for, and what a cool like way to send like that message in a modern context, but involve it like it's the same thing happening like over again. Like I don't know, it's just with no audio, and to see people in a theater hear sound for the first time, and then to just stand up and start cheering, you know,
everything's about to change.
And so like there's all these things melded into one movie, and then also within that movie you have the excess and just parties and craziness and
the
just
lavish
lifestyles. The story goes from, I mean, you don't know what's gonna happen. I don't even know what examples to bring up. Like there's an elephant
Tobey
that walks
Maguire.
through a door. Yeah, a weird. What's up with him? You know, what's like his? Is he just a party animal, and that's just how like? What's his look like? Why is he looking like that? You know,
I'm going drugs.
Yeah,
lots of drugs is kind of how I kind of take that whole persona. He's going like a brain almost fried from drugs.
He's like the casino leader, or like just the crime. Like what was like his position, kind of like what? Because they had to give him the money to pay back the casino, and maybe he's just like the middleman for that. Like just
I'm going crime boss of some sort.
Yeah,
he's
kind
of
the Joe
he's the
Pesci,
Hollywood
maybe.
underworld leader of sorts. You know, that's kind of how I take him. But like that's the pinnacle example of how you don't know where this fucking movie's gonna go. Is Tobey Maguire's entire sequence in this film, which is only about 12 minutes.
Yeah,
it's not a very big chunk, but it's like it's very impactful part of the movie. Like I said, this was my second viewing of the movie. I watched it for the first time March of 2023, I want to say. It was a few months after its release. It had hit streaming, and me and Emily watched it together. And I mean, I'm blown away by it. I love this movie, and I understand that a lot of people, it's got extremely mixed reception, like excruciatingly mixed reception. This almost put Damien Chazelle in director's jail. Ironically enough, this was an absolute fucking flop at the box office. bombed like a motherfucker. And I mean, there's a lot to go off there. You know, it was an excessively expensive movie. It was 3 hours and 9 minutes. It got a Christmas release, which was kind of like, oh yeah, this could be, this, you know, maybe it'll slot in there. But Avatar: The Way of the Water was in theaters at the time. Probably would have been better suited for a summer. So like, there was all sorts of stuff that lent to this movie's inevitable collapse, falling flat on its face financially. Sorry for the alliteration there. Didn't mean to, and it was hard to spit out.
Damn. That's sad, though.
But it is one of those things where, like, it's almost cosmically comedic that it flopped as hard as it did. Because it almost makes the movie more impactful knowing that, you know?
Yeah. Like, my thought at the end of seeing that cinema full of people, every seat full, 50 cents to get in, every single kind of person was in there, you know, and then like, whenever I go to a movie now, like, the theaters are like, there's no one there. They are struggling like hard. I don't know, maybe it's just where we live, I don't know, but like, even a popular big IMAX screening, or like Star Wars, the first Phantom Menace screening there was like, it wasn't even sold out, you know, like, I don't, like, it's just, it is kind of weird to think of the state of the cinema now compared to like
this,
back, like,
where we're talking layered cinemas. Like, they have an upstairs where you can sit in these rows, or downstairs where you sit in these rows. Yeah.
And is that how movies were really made, or was this just one fucking crazy movie, you know? Like,
are you talking about like the silent
at the beginning
film sequence?
Yeah, before we entered the sound era, like,
yes, that is how movies used to be made. That is how silent films were made, because they were silent. You didn't need to have...
It was literally all visual. It didn't matter.
Yeah, it was all visual. And
like,
all the sound was added after the fact, because that's where music was played. That's where all that was taken into account.
But they had the orchestra and every, like, the band and stuff there, just
for
to
pacing.
give, like, the, oh my God, wow. Yeah, I mean...
This is what the scene will feel like. This is what it will be. It gives the directors an idea of what this will turn out being. And that is, hands down, I can't pick it as a scene because it's obviously a giant chunk of the fucking movie. It is my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
The entire silent, the time you spend in the silent film creation process. There's that sequence where Manny is trying to run and get the camera, and Margot Robbie is doing take after take as Nellie Leroy for the first time. Brad Pitt is drinking, and he's telling his typist what he needs to be writing, and we just cut back and forth, and the music is swelling, and my God, the music. I love Justin Hurwitz's score of this movie. Will forever be one of the most egregious Oscar wins of all time. Is the 2023 Oscar for sound, or for score, that went to All Quiet on the Western Front, which by no means has a bad score, but it didn't stand a fucking chance against this, nor did it stand a chance against John Williams' score of The Fabelmans, for my money, but it's neither here nor there. All that to say that I think this was an Oscar-winning score that didn't win the Oscar, and that was incredibly disappointing.
You got me to notice it, and I'm not one to notice scores really at all. But this was,
throw it in your face. They throw it in your face. It's a Fantasia for an hour of the runtime. There's nobody speaking. Everything is moving really fast, and the music is blaring, and it's. But that's what makes this movie rock, is that it was incredibly indulgent. It was incredibly excessive. Damien Chazelle got free fucking reign after La La Land and The First Man. That was like, they were like, go for it, do whatever you want to do, and boy did he do whatever he wanted to do.
Dude,
I
think
this movie
partying?
rocks. Like,
this is the movie. I don't know, I guess people still party like this, but not really. I don't know, maybe not in a
casual, not in our class.
No, I guess maybe not the party. It just, I guess the biggest switch in the movie is just the way movies are made and how it affected the actors and everyone that are making the movies. and it's not like there was a big societal change in like I guess stuff. But I guess they kind of hinted at that, like that they weren't really in that life anymore, or that like even when Tobey Maguire's character comes up, it's like this is the only place that still knows how to have fun. You know, it's like that there has been kind of like a
recessive nature of society back, like we're coming to the end of the Roaring 20s. A very, like when we're talking about like the time period this movie takes place, that's also very important. We're nearing the end of the Roaring 20s, about to enter the Great Depression. So the conservative values begin to come back in times of strife and strain, because we need money, we need our economy better, we need all this. So conservatism begins to take over again. And I mean, we're experiencing a regressive shift right now. Like this is about 100 years later. Like we are experiencing a very similar regressive shift that happened during this period. Like there's the point whenever Manny is firing Lady Faye because her and Nellie are in a relationship, and he's like, they don't like that anymore. You know, people want morals, and it's like, oh. Okay, but like that's a really good sign of like how history keeps repeating itself, and how we keep. I love that this movie is like,
it's so old,
obviously. Oh
like,
yeah,
like
it's relevant,
current, and I don't know. That's the part that got me, is like how is this 1920 and like it's sound, like I feel like we don't have that big of an innovation happening in movies, but I think maybe the one now is just you don't need a camera anymore, or like AI, or I don't like. I think it's
the montage of movies at the end is very important. They wouldn't have shown those specific movies at the end
like
if they
those
weren't
are the ones that are doing
it.
Right.
They show Tron, and they show Jurassic Park, and they show Matrix, and they show Avatar to show the end, the conclusion of that evolution to where we are now, and that's a steady evolution from Tron to Jurassic Park to Matrix to Avatar. You know, like that is a steady uptick of what, like they show from the first, you know, clip of you know, Nope, the black man on the horse, and then they go to the iconic clip of the railroad, and then, you know, we get several wonderful movies featured in this, and I loved that. I've watched a lot of them since the first time I've watched this, which was one of those
cool.
like I could recognize a lot more. And the final one that I absolutely loved, which was interesting because it was after Avatar, was Persona, one of my favorite, like an absolutely incredible black and white movie. The one where the kid is putting his hand on the projected screen, seemingly, you know, kind of in a way that's like a great movie. Persona, love that, strongly recommend.
And that came after
by Ingmar Bergman,
after Avatar. I guess
yes.
I didn't clock it.
I think they're going at the. I think they're going at the idea that it's a kid touching a screen lovingly, and it's kind of like I love movies, essentially. You know, like I think within the context of that movie, it plays a little differently in terms of the context of Persona, but I think after all of those clips showing that is kind of like the smash cut after that to the final shot of the movie, back to Manny, is one of the most impactful shots in the movie, because we've watched the movies tear this man apart. You know, we've watched the movie industry destroy and shell this man's life. It made him do things he didn't want to do, like make Sidney Palmer put on blackface, and like fire Lady Faye for being gay, and
get on a horse, start, you know, rallying all
union busting. Like he's doing a lot of stuff to make it. And when he finally gets out and when he comes back, you know, he sacrificed himself for something bigger. As he says at the beginning of the movie. I want to be a part of something bigger. I want to be. It's as important as life itself, I think, is the line he says, and that's my line of the movie. But when they cut back to him and he's like smiling and he's crying, and it's like it was all. he lent to this history. He lent to these movies, and these movies, in the end, no matter how much they ruined him, he can't hate them. And I think that that's I love it. I love it. The bittersweet sorrow that comes with the passage of time, and the way you can look back on the past in a way you don't know until you're well past it, you know? And I think that that's more than just the movies, you know, the importance of film and all that, the time slipping away and holding on to the past while wanting to innovate, but then you get to the innovations and you wish you had a little bit of the past, but you can't stop progress, so you got to keep going. And like just the back and forth, the bittersweet sorrow that is the forward march of time. And I feel like Babylon really captures that.
Yep. Father Time will remain undefeated. That's for sure. I think like in Mr. Conrad, what's his first name? Jack. Good old just Jack. Jack Conrad. I think that's like his character whenever he sits down with oh my God, yeah, Eleanor St. John. I think that, I don't know, that's just kind of fun.
Wonderfully portrayed by Jane Smart. Yeah.
Did they have a different name they called her, like a nickname, or like
was it Eleanor?
Eleanor? Just okay.
Mostly Eleanor.
I don't know why I felt like there was like Lady something, or I don't know why. That's like, but anyway, Eleanor, like that sit down conversation of like you want me to tell you like why they laughed, or like you want me to like, and then her breaking it down of just being like, you're out of the game, up. You know, that's just how it is. And like the whole cockroach and burning house thing, whatever. But then her to just be like, was it her that also said that later on someone will pick up that film, play it, watch it, and act like they know you just as well as you are. And that is really cool. Like the idea of you die once literally with your body, but then the last time your name is spoken or you're brought up is your actual kind of death or whatever. And to hear that just put so beautifully by like a, you know, that's her job, is like she's a critic, and she, I don't know, I love whenever like they were on that movie, like the real movie set, or I call it real, but just pre-sound movie set, and she's sitting on the hill with the binoculars watching the war basically, and she's talking, like saying her review while or like I don't know, that it was just, it would be, I don't think that movie sets they're not like what we saw with the first Sound movie, you know, where it was like, I shut the fuck up, and like, you know,
no, not anymore.
Like it's not
the
like
technology has evolved,
but
I mean, you're still supposed to be fucking silent, but it's not like it's not like this.
It's not so difficult, I guess, now. But I think the more important thing is that we do it at all. Like what we see now is like the most perfect thing that we can imagine. We want everything to be perfect now. The sound has to be clear, crystal clear. There is none of that chaos. There is none of, like, it's all so planned out now. Like it is in a set, instead of, fuck, we're outside and we just build whatever we need for the day, or we just use the land.
We found this chick last night, throw her in there, see what she can do.
Yeah.
You know?
And not the best, you know, like still like, there's still problems with what they got going on, but that, at least, I don't know, you can't lie, like with just visuals, like with what you see, with what's captured in camera is what is captured, and that's at that time there was no question of what you're seeing, if it was real or not. And then whenever there was a mind-blowing shot or something that was like, wait, how did they do that? It's just done practically. It is, whether they're slicing film or something, there's still no line. Like, it is all real things they filmed. And now I'm glad that we can make crazy movies now, like Tron Legacy, the first movie I chose. You know, that's the continuation of one of the movies they have at the end here. And it does kind of suffer a little bit for being completely pristine and perfect, and I don't like, doesn't make
digital.
The movie inherently worse. It's just that there isn't that
realness.
Yeah, I don't know. And it'd be really, really cool to like live through that, to live through the first Sound, like, because whenever the audience started to stand up and cheer, I was confused myself. I'm like, wait, like, why are they cheering? I'm like, did someone show up, and then, or like, is someone down there that they just haven't shown? And I'm like, wait, what's going on? And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, they're hearing
They've
sound.
never heard sound.
I'm like, oh
Yeah.
shit. I'm like, and that's just my brain. It is second nature. Sound is I don't
As
know.
important
Yes.
to a movie as the visuals in a lot of cases.
Yeah,
Um,
but we can make a silent film today, or do people still do that? You know, is that
the 2011 Best Picture winner was a silent film.
hey, that's kind. I don't know. I feel like because we can, you know, we can make color movies. We can make all these movies. We still make black and white movies every now and then. Like, why not make a silent film? Like,
You know, and there were people who did not give in to the status quo and the shifting from sound to, or shifting from silent to sound. You know, like Charlie Chaplin made silent films well into the 30s, and even into the early 40s. You know, like it was, and now obviously that was the biggest silent film star of his day, and you know he's able to do that because he was Charlie Chaplin, you know, like stuff like that. Like there's a line to toe there, but you know, I appreciate that when it comes to the evolutions in cinema, it's not stark. It's not like, well, nothing was the same after that, but there were still remnants. The way that whenever Technicolor came onto the scene, there were still black and white movies for years and for a very long time. And now that visual effects have come into play, we still get movies that don't utilize them. And it's kind of like, you know, it's all these sorts of things that there's a constant evolution. And to go back to that scene about with Eleanor St. John and Jack Conrad, she puts so poignantly the job. You know, there was actually a quote about a month ago from a legendary director named David Cronenberg in promotion for The Shrouds, where he said, I'm often watching movies in order to see dead people. I want to see them again. I want to hear them. And so in a way, the cinema is kind of a shrouded post-death machine. In a way, cinema is a cemetery. And I was like, that's a fucking bar right there.
It's so weird that I've never thought of movies in this way until recently in my life. Movies have just been movies. Like, I don't know. It was just something to watch.
And that's what was cool about Jack, is that, like, he had an idea of what movies could be. You know, like, and then when they got there, he'd already been past his prime, so he didn't get a chance to bask in the glory.
Yeah.
You know, he helped build a future for a sunset he would never get to see, so to say.
Yes,
you know,
he walked so that others could fly. You know, and that's okay. It's a hard. You know, it sucks for yourself. You know, it's like, damn. Well, it would have been nice if I could have you know, climbed in
broke
that
through
parade
here,
and reaped the rewards and benefits and all. But it's at least, I don't know. At least you can go on knowing that if you were born 20 years later or whatever, that is probably what you'd be doing. I don't know. It's just it doesn't even just attain or just apply to just movies. It's like kind of everything. And that's why, I don't know, the movie was so impressive to me, is that on one end it can be so lavish and just excessive, and we're just doing whatever to do whatever because we can, and then get super serious and be like Conrad, like I don't like the guy, like the dude's a piece of shit in the movie, and like, you know, he the way he treats all of his wives, you know, that he's who knows how many marriages this guy's had at this point, but it's like the dude sucks. But during that scene, and during, like, when he's has this, he's realizing it for himself, and then eventually his end, like, it's clear. Like, I mean, it's like whenever, like, I feel like that's the first end of a character in the movie, right? Like, that's when the ending kind of starts, is when he goes up to his room. Yeah, I mean, it's
and his whole walk there, you're like, oh yeah,
you know exactly what's going down. Yeah, it's the big, you know, like, even from whenever he said, I'm going to get the cigars, like, I'm like, oh.
And it's the conversation right before. He was able to put his nose down and push forward and, you know, forget about George to a degree. Never forget about George, but always kind of be like, he was able to put him out of his mind a bit. He was able to go, George is gone. He was my staunchest supporter. Nothing's the same after George kills himself for him. After that, it's all downhill. That's whenever he gets the call that George committed suicide, he has probably my favorite Jack Conrad scene in the movie, where he talks to his theater actress wife, and he's like, "You're wrong.
Yes.
You know, like, movies are important. They are.
I want you to
they're
know
every
one
bit
thing.
as important.
Yeah,
you know,
like,
100,000 people go and see you, and it's a smash hit. 100,000 people see a movie, and it's a fucking flop. You know, like, and it's like, okay, yeah, you know, sound. But regardless, before that, whenever he's going on how movies are important and their art, and you need, like, one day it will be recognized that way. Loved that. But Lady Faye is a staunch reminder of what used to be when he sits down with her for that second. And she's going on to Europe. She's able to move on. She's able to do these things. And he realizes he's never going to be able to do these things. He's never going to be able to do that. And that it is just like his whole journey upstairs. You know, what's the best tip you've ever gotten? $50. Ah, who gave you that? You did, sir. He's like, have every bit of money I have. And you're like, okay, yep, all right, this is it. It's devastating, man. And there's so much about the end of this movie that is devastating. You know, the last scenes we get with Nellie Leroy, very, very poignant. The way she just she exits upstage. She just goes out of the limelight. She just goes into the shadow, and that's it. You never see her again. You get a couple seconds later, they're like, she died at 34. That was it. Last time she ever saw Manny. It's devastating, you know, especially considering Nellie was never able to live her truth, you know, very clearly a gay woman. That didn't realize it until she almost kissed Lady Faye, and then was like,
the studio was like, oh no, gotta get her out of there too. So like, it's like, and that was another, I don't know if they really hammered the point home, but at least I, like, every time it was like, the studio is the thing that is ruining the movie, you know, like, that is what it all comes back to, like, the blackface, it's coming down because the studio doesn't want the ratings in the South to be blah blah blah, so here we have to, and then it's put on Manny, you know, a guy from an immigrant from Mexico who crossed the border when he was 12, and like and who has to then tell a black man to put on more blackface. It's like that, like, Manny was so clear, like, at least his acting and like facial acting, he did not, like, he like, knew,
and he was wrong. Regurgitating like, all sorts of dogma, like, you know, like, you're gonna put all these guys out of work, you know, like, all of them need to feed their families. You really gonna do that, man? You know, like, and it's kind of what he has to do it to keep his job, and you know, that's why Sidney is probably my favorite character in the movie.
The only one to say, fuck it. Fuck
yeah.
you guys. You can even have the car back. You know, like,
I don't want a fucking thing you gave me. And it was immediately after that. He left. Yep. He wiped it off. He left his car in the parking lot and said, fuck this. I'm not coming back.
I won't be back. Yeah.
I loved that.
Dude.
And that's why ultimately, when it came to my favorite characters in the movie, they were Sidney, Lady Faye, and Nellie. And the reasons for each... I mean, like, there's a lot of great characters. The other one, I mean, Manny is also a great character, so I don't want to undersell him at all. But when it came to Lady Faye and Sidney, they were two people who were not willing to compromise who they were for a job that would give them more money. Nellie and Manny were the flip side of that coin, where they were willing to sacrifice themselves in a way to give themselves to this system. And I thought that there was a really poignant juxtaposition between them and the way that they all interact with each other. You know, one of my favorite moments in the whole movie is obviously a fucking anxiety-inducing sequence that gets a huge payoff, which is the uppity dinner that they all get into, the event where they have to make Nellie seem high class and stuff, and
Ugh.
Sydney's getting berated like, I think them putting black people in movies is a lovely thing they are doing now. And they're like, do you know any jokes, Nelly? Please be funny for me. Be funny.
he's
You're
like-
a funny gal, aren't you? Be funny.
It was so the whole time I'm just like, I would like it. Just it's so slimy. I don't know, just so like fake. Like even them, like even those people cannot think that they're actually like, like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
is it like do they? Is it really that they're so just disconnected that they really do think that way now, or like they know they're putting on the act too, and they just choose to keep doing it?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I think there's a combination of things. You do it for so long, it stops being an act. It becomes who you are, but it's not authentic. Like I think one of the main examples of that is the beginning of the movie. Whenever Olivia Wilde's one scene in the movie, probably the best acting she's ever done in her life. Whenever she's like, "Stop speaking Italian. You are from Shawnee. Stop doing that shit." And
God, yeah, I didn't
like, and that's what they're all, when in doubt, say something French, like, she says something French, and clearly the woman who responds doesn't speak French, or else she would have asked her why the fuck she said that in that weird way.
Yeah.
She just responds with something in French to make it seem like she also knows French. Because none of these motherfuckers know French, man. They know French words, and they'll string them together back to back. Because even Gene Smart there in that scene goes, we, like, yeah, sure. And everyone's content with that. And, like, they're also fucking phony. And I love that Nelly ends up being like, you know what? Fuck you, motherfuckers. Here's what a monster, an animal from New Jersey does. You know what? I'm gonna go home, put some cocaine up my pussy, while you all, that whole sequence, the way she vomits, but she's about to vomit, so she runs back inside, vomits on the rug, vomits on the guy. It's incredible. It's incredible. It's excessive. It's indulgent in the best fucking way. And I think that that's something that this movie. It catches flack for its excess. It catches flack for how over the top it is, and how just it is a lot. And I could see how some would think it is too much, but I don't think it is. I think that that's the point.
It's
is
the
that it's
Roaring
too much,
'20s. That's where this movie is trying to say a whole lot about Hollywood and the history of it, as well as the current state. But I think also it's doing what it's. The message inside the movie is to preserve film and to do it for a, preservation and not really for just movie making, whatever. But they're also doing that in this movie by preserving of what the 20s is like. Like they're giving a period piece, kind of, of what it would be like to be an actor.
It's definitely a period.
Yeah,
piece,
it's of what it would be like to be an actor in the 20s and to live that life. Like they are just going from one thing to the next, and it like that is their life. That's crazy. Like it gave me a crazy insight to just like all the different kind of people who work on a movie too. Just to see that movie set, the silent movie set, like kind of just painted a picture of like how many people it actually takes to make a movie. Those are all just one scenes that are going on, but you need an orchestra to keep them on pace. You need the costume people to make all the things, the prop people, and they're all, it's just, it has to be chaos. And I think that my favorite part is definitely the earlier parts of the movie. Like just when we are in that excess, when we're in that era of silent movies, but I love how serious it does get later on. Like I my view on the movie changed as I was watching. The first half, I was just like, fuck it, give me this the whole time. Like, if this is the movie the whole time, cool. If we're just going from, like, party to party, and we're just seeing what the 20s could be like, and we just have these different characters, and we're following them through, cool. But it almost, like, the three characters were all, like, together at the beginning, and then they went their separate ways, and then kind of came back together at the end, and like it was a really cool just melding of all these different storylines and characters. But at the end of the day, it's just showing on one end of the spectrum, if you stick to your guns and you don't do what the studio wants, like Sydney and the people who got out and did good, and then all the way on the other end, if you just do whatever the fuck you're all in, and you're not thinking of what you're doing, and you're just making movies and making money. And I think it just gave that a really cool look into an actor, a studio executive, I don't know, different people in movie making, and
there's so many different characterizations throughout the movie. You know, we do have the ones who are in it for the art, which are Sydney and even Jack Conrad. Jack Conrad's very romantic about it. That, like, he's not romantic in his personal life. Actually, he kind of is. He doesn't know how to handle it, but he gets married continuously. He believes in love, clearly. It just never lasts for him. So we got the guy who's really romantic about movies, who loves the movies and wants to push movies forward. We got Nellie, who wants to be a star. She wants to live the excess. She's just a girl from Lafayette who was told she was the run of the litter. She's never going to be anything, you know. So she's here to prove a point. She's going to be a star. You're either born a star or you ain't, and I am.
Yeah,
you know. I love that. And then we got the guy who seems to just be trying to get by. And Manny, he wants to be a part of the movies. He doesn't know in what capacity. He just knows he wants to be around that life, and that indecision ultimately is what makes it easy for him to get out in the end. But
almost dies. Yeah, I mean, they get caught up. I mean, the movie, it gets pretty crazy there. Just, you know, some gambling. You know, I guess that is all that cost it. But
so. She owes $85,000.
Yeah, what is that in today?
$2 million.
Yeah, she does not have that kind of money.
No.
Yeah, and she loves her drugs. You know, loves her coke. Coke was very, very needed, almost a necessity. But I love that. Like whenever it is Manny and her doing coke. I don't know if that's Manny's first time. It kind of seemed, you know, he says
I do coke all the time, you know?
No, I do it all the time. And then he's like, oh,
no, he's never done coke.
He's like, ow. He's like, what the shit? And so I don't know. Maybe it's not his first, but
that scene's incredible.
Early. Oh my God. Yeah. And then he just, you know, he's fueled up, he's fired up, and he's just spitting, you know, he's like, I want to be part of something bigger. And then it comes back at the very end. I feel like that's why he is either my character, it's either him or I guess his ending felt like the happiest for me. But I don't like some of the decisions he makes throughout the movie. I really like whenever he just yells, at Nellie. It's kind of warranted, I guess. $2 million, you know, you know, the points he's making are kind of valid. I guess
that's a lot of money,
you know. And he does realize, and then he's like, okay, shit, you know what? Fuck, I'll fix this.
Well, and that's the thing, though. However, now he is simple. He's in love with a woman who is never going to love him. You fired the woman she loved because she was in love with the woman.
Yeah.
Sorry, Manny, you're in love with a gay woman. It's never going to go your way. So that, and maybe Nellie's bi, but I never get the impression she's actually into Manny. I think she's telling him what he wants to hear at the end so that they can get out. I think that's why she gets out of the car when she has the chance and just walks off into the night. I think that she's like, when she tells him, I'm not good for you, this isn't going to work, she means that. And then when she's like, you know what? Yeah, we'll get married. Let's do this thing. She is going to leave the first chance she gets, and she does.
Oh, fuck. Did she think that Manny was going to die there, actually? Maybe it was like a just in case. Maybe it was just like, shit, I got him into the wrong business. You know, he might die here. Let me give him just a nice, happy thought, you know, kind of happy thoughts to die with. It's or
possible. I don't know why she would think he was going to die in that building. Yeah, I don't know why she would think he was going to die.
Yeah, there. It was just get in, get out. I guess they were just. Manny knew he was being chased, I guess, because they were the ones who went to.
He knew that people were after him,
or whatever. But which
is
funny. But yeah, I guess no. I mean, I didn't think it'd be the main reason she's saying all these things. And I had a I don't know, whenever they were in that little restaurant, where she does kind of tell him all of that, like, there's dancing here, or like, whatever, and she's like, no, it's over for me, and then, no, I love you, and but during that, there, like, the people, there's like someone with a camera there, and the thought crossed my mind, I'm like, wait a minute, is this the movie that she's currently making right now, and she's like doing like a real life sort of thing, and this will be a scene for the movie, and then like I thought someone was gonna say cut, like after she was like, no, let's get married, and like out of the tears. So like on my first watch, I didn't really like accept, I don't know, it felt fake at first already, and so like I don't know,
like
there was something there.
There's definitely a reason it's fake.
Yeah,
it's she doesn't mean it,
it's
she
not that, yeah.
She might. I mean, she literally, as soon as she has a chance to wander off into the night, she does, and she's not high anymore.
Mm-hmm.
She's come down. The music in the movie becomes diegetic. She can hear it, and she walks off into the night. She's dancing to it, even though there's no music playing near her. There is a degree of like it's. She knows she's exiting stage. She knows this is it. Like she said a few minutes earlier, like
see.
This is the end for me. I don't go further than this. And yeah, like it's devastating, like the movie business chewed her up and spat her out, and that was that. She had her time, and that was it. I think they make a really good point to point out that her time in the movies is even more short-lived than Jack Conrad's, kind of in the same, like, women have a shorter shelf life in the eyes of the public as being desirable, and the it factor, there's going to be a next up who's, 5 years younger, but she's 5 years younger,
exactly.
like,
and
so
even
it's
she
always,
was almost sent away for her tits, for the, like, that's they wanted a girl with tits, I guess, and I wanted to ask you, in this movie set, because she didn't have tits, they're like, okay, scratch that, no tits, we're killing the men, is what they said. They're like, all right, we can't, since we don't have the tits, we're just going to have to kill the men. What, if they had the tits, what were they going?
Killing the men,
I thought,
or shoot the men?
shoot the, not literally. Oh my fucking god!
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what the fuck does that mean? I'm like, what happens if they have the tits? I'm like, so these men have to die since the that okay. Oh my god, shoot as in just camera.
Yeah, shoot as in with a camera,
motherfucker. Okay, well,
I take it that she would have been, with them in some capacity, showing her tits, but they're just going to have to shoot the men on their own.
Okay. Okay. Well, then never mind.
A dude does die on that set, though, which
that's
is
true. A literal, real,
yeah. They're
real,
like, man, he was an alcoholic. Maybe he ran into it, and they're like, yep, that's what we're gonna have to go with.
Yeah. So there's obviously, give and take for the, I kind of glorified those movie sets, and like I want to go back to those days, but
no, it's ugly.
Maybe we could have some safety regulations now, and those are meant,
Well, and there's the moment at the end, the last scene we watched Jack Conrad shoot, where he's at the horizon and they're looking out over it, the sun's shining. He looks around and nobody's paying attention. They're just phoning it in. There's this shot, doesn't matter, that's it. But then you think about what happened at the beginning of the movie when he was drunk as fuck and he stumbled onto set and they're running out of light and he locks the fuck in and he goes for it.
Yeah, like
and he goes for it, and Spike Jonze, an actual movie director playing the German movie director, by the way, goes, we got it. And they all just fucking electrically go up. Everyone was in. Everyone was wrapped. Everyone needed that shot to go well. So to compare it to the ending, the last scene we do watch him shoot, and he looks around and he's like, nobody even gives a fuck anymore. Nobody cares that this is what we're doing.
Wow.
It's
yeah, because even the director comes up and is just like, not a dry eye in the room or whatever after like
Yep.
they get that
Not
one
dry in
shot
the
and,
house.
like,
Good job, guys.
and what he's telling the other actor, like the advice he's giving him, like find everything, find it on the horizon, like find what you've built your whole career for. And like Jack's just hearing it like, God damn, like he like because then after he gets done talking to that actor, he comes to him and he's like, you good to go again? He trusts him. You're the professional. You're the veteran.
Yeah.
I don't need to talk to you. But what he was saying to the other actor was very, very on
Poignant.
the nose for what what Jack kind of needed to hear, or maybe what he didn't need to hear at that time. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
No, because and that's what was funny is that even when he was sitting in that when he does have that conversation with Lady Faye, and the guy comes up and he goes, Jack Conrad's back, baby. Like, let's go. And Lady Faye's like, new movie's good? And he's like, it's shit. It's bad.
Just be honest with me, man. Like on the phone with the guy that calls him, like, we need you. Good movie. Like, you're gonna whatever. He's like,
it's a piece of shit, isn't it?
I'm gonna bail you out.
Bailing you out.
Yeah, and he's like,
say it. You'd be bailing me out. It's a piece of shit, isn't it? Yeah, it's a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll see you on set. Like that whole thing. Like the final thing he does in his career is sell out. And it's really sad. It's not a triumph. It's he just gives in to the system as it stands, and he hates himself for it. He can't forgive himself. He's like, it's a piece of shit, and that's it.
Man. Margot Robbie, like his scene, like
she is fucking incredible.
Whenever, like, I gave her the performance, and I don't think it's
Me too.
like
Me
remotely close for anyone else in the movie. Like,
well, they showcase how good of an actress she is by making
in
Nellie
the movie.
Leroy a good actress.
Like whenever she's just asked to cry, like, oh, she's just a random whore, blah blah blah. She can't cry.
Hold it in
and then,
for
like,
2 beats and then let it gush.
and
then
then they
that
just
whole thing
over and over and over, and it like
1 tear's a 2.
The first the first time she cries, like, and everyone is just like, everyone goes silent. Like, it does make everyone go silent, and they're like, holy shit. They're like, oh my God. And then the director's like, cut. Like, they're like, yeah, we got it. It's like a cut, I guess. And then whenever the butterfly,
she's like, okay, now that I know you can do this shit, let's play with it.
And the equivalent for Jack was like his shot and the butterfly, landing on his shoulder, and the director being like, cut. Like, holy shit. Like, oh my God, like that. And it's, again, that's in a studio.
God.
That can never happen, like, or like in that, like the butterfly, it would never have happened, but it's just that it's raw, it's real. It's like, and it was, I don't know. It's to have 2 of those, like, cut, like, just like a holy, we got the shot. Like, that's why I love that early part of the movie, just on that set. And, I don't know. I guess those are the more fond memories of the movie, that's for sure. But then, like, just the critically good parts of the movie is like the end, I feel like, is like whenever they are giving monologues of the state of cinema, or like the state of an actor at the time, or anything. And I was hard pressed to not, like, just put a monologue as one of my lines, but I don't know, I guess I have that as a scene potential, the conversation between Jack and Eleanor, just because of how I thought the monologue was really fun. But I do, I guess I have the asshole of Los Angeles as a scene. That was just, I mean, the movie just kind of went to left field whenever we went in that cave. I thought that they were just going there to die, and then it's like, no, we actually have just a secret underground party, sick fuck fest, like whatever the hell was
disgusting going on.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of an homage to David Lynch's Elephant Man down there. Great movie. Strongly recommend it. There's a character who's literally designed to look like Elephant Man from David Lynch, from the David Lynch movie. And
I feel like I might, in the red weird sex dungeon room where it was like,
there's a dude who's got a real swollen face, and that whole thing. Actually based on a real guy in Elephant Man. That's based on a true story, so it's kind of like it's a little
the only, I guess, cool thing down there was just the big fucking guy that ate a rat. I mean, it was disgusting, but like,
wasn't he made for the movies?
Oh.
Tobey Maguire, like Jesus.
yeah, like, oh my god. And yeah, the prop money. That was pretty good. I thought that was pretty creative. Like, just where else was I gonna get $85,000 in a day? It's like, yeah, I guess that I don't know. It makes a lot more sense to put it in $2 million versus 85,000. But okay, let's see. I don't think that the asshole of Los Angeles will really nail it down for my scene. I guess I also had the first sound movie. Oh, the cab. That's right. Oh, because before Manny goes and has that and here's the first sound movie. He's in the cab with Lenny, right? Or Nelly and Lenny. Nelly
yeah.
and what is their conversation there?
It starts with her going,
because she was like she had a bunch of people around her, and he kind of got her out of the crowd and then into the car.
This is after they've gone to see her mom at the asylum.
That's right. Okay.
They get in the car and she basically goes, I hate when people put toppings on ice cream. It ruins a good thing, you know. It's already good. Why do you got to do that, you know? And like, so they have like, it starts as a light conversation and it kind of evolves, but you know,
man, I forgot about that little cab conversation. But that was I really liked that. That was strong, I guess. Like just from that, and then him going into the movies, seeing that, and I feel like that's I feel like Manny. I don't know. I do keep coming back to him. And it's not for him, I guess. It's like his story. I felt like was just really cool, and he felt like he had the most love for just movies, kind of out of anyone. I don't know, and just that final, like him crying in the theater when he's realizing all of this, and like I like to think that the movies that we see, like Tron and Matrix and Avatar, is like what he's envisioning in his head of like, this is where movies are going to go. Like, he's like, this is what we can do now, and there will still be good, you know. He experienced the absolute worst that it could be on that set, you know, and a guy died there too, you know, in a hot ass box for an hour straight or whatever. And but yeah, like there's goods and pros and cons to everything, but I guess there will always, the fact that we can make any movie so easily, and we can just, the camera doesn't even have to be there now, and we can do everything on a computer. At least if it's bad, you know it's bad, and it makes the good and real, authentic stuff like that much better now. Like it makes it stand out, and
that's what's interesting too, is that I think that there's something this movie's trying to say, specifically with that last shot. Not just that, you know, things used to be better, but that things can be incredible, you know, like even given the different circumstances, you know, like different times, there's going to be masterworks in every era. I like to think that last evolution of movies is kind of like a vision that Manny's having, as we cut back to Manny at the end, watching Singing in the Rain and all that, and him being like, you know, like he's crying and his mouth's agape and he's smiling and stuff. Like, I think he's kind of seeing what movies can become to a degree.
Was he at the Singing in the Rain set whenever Jack was there too? So he saw like the shitty kind of version, and then he saw the good and like what it can be.
Yeah.
Oh,
because
that's
Singing in
awesome.
the Rain the musical Singing in the Rain is inspired by the song Singing in the Rain, which was, you know, like it was a big hit that got redone over the years. So that was, you know, we started doing sound productions, and they were like, let's do a song, you know, let's do a sing, you know.
That's just okay. That wasn't an actual movie. That was just they're filming, or they're just getting the audio for the musical.
I think they're doing
or...
there was a big, I can't remember what it's called. There's like a giant variety show, the Hollywood Review of 1929, a pre-code musical comedy that featured countless names, like tons of people were in it, and they just performed and did all these different things. So I think that's what they're doing. I think that's kind of what they're alluding to, is that this is the Hollywood Review of 1929. But so he sees the movie, which is about the transition from silent films to sound films, by the way. That movie's set 1927. They even show the main actress in Singing in the Rain do the same scene as Margot Robbie attempts to do it when she's sitting on the bed with Lady Faye going over lines with her. Pierre, don't you go, please don't go.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
I love you. I love you. And him just remembering it being like, and it's bitter, it's bitter, it's bitter. And then I like to think he sees what movies could be, and then it's sweet again. And he's like, oh, this is, Gene Kelly starts singing and he realizes what's special about it. And, there's, Gene Kelly was an incredible talent. I'll make anybody think movies are special, but I love the end of this movie, man. And I love the montage, not only just of the movies, but when they go to the black and white shots throughout that were in this movie. They show Margot Robbie with the tear falling down her face and Brad Pitt and that other actress kissing with the butterfly
there,
on her shoulder.
dude, but it's not there at the end. I was like, oh, come on. Because when we saw the butterfly, I think we saw it in color, and it was just...
Yeah.
It's not a real butterfly. They really...
Yeah.
Unless that would have been really cool if a butterfly actually landed and they were like, holy fuck. But that was the only thing. I guess... I don't think the butterfly... Unless I don't know. Unless it was just an earlier part in the shot and then it just didn't land yet or something. But I don't think it was there on the end shot. But no, that was the single tear going down Margot's face.
Yeah. Then it cuts to them kissing at the party and stuff.
And the handheld shot that they got. Oh my God, that was
and it's beautiful. And then we see the reel of film being dyed and stuff. That's what you're seeing at the end of the movie, and just all that, fucking magnificent. I love the end of this movie. It made me feel so deeply. It made me cry like a motherfucker when you get to the end there.
It's not the happiest start to the end. It's pretty devastating. It's reminiscent of Royal Tenenbaums-esque, but successful. So I don't like it. It got me feeling those feelings, but then it was like, well, I don't know. It was different because I knew his fate kind of when he's walking up there. It was like, well,
not to mention that when he does that, there's still 30 minutes left in the movie. It's
wait, what?
Yeah, there's a lot of movie.
Oh, okay. Because I guess I'm thinking that's just his end. So it doesn't actually happen that close. Because I guess there is.
I think after that we go to Tobey Maguire's hellhole and the asshole of L.A. or whatever.
The end really flies. Then I guess
there's a lot of movie. There is so much movie that we are not going to be able to touch on all of it. The title card, I love when the movie does this, isn't for 30 minutes into the movie, which I absolutely adore. It's that beautiful setup where, right before they cut to it, he asks Manny, have you ever been on a movie set? And he goes, no. And he goes, it's the most magical place on earth. And Manny smiles and bow, Babylon. And I was like, yep, that's hard. That's hard. I love the opening party sequence. One of my favorite, there's a lot of long takes. I love Margot Robbie's dance sequence at the beginning. It's utterly incredible. And then when that oneer ends, they cut to Manny and he's just standing like this. And you're like, wait, that's exactly how I was watching this scene. There's a cool thing they do with Manny where he's observing the things happening kind of like you are. And when he gets wrapped up in it, it's obviously different. But whenever he's just sitting back, I think that's another thing the ending gives him is it reminds him of what he used to be before all of it and what it used to be like before he got involved, because now he's not involved anymore.
The magic of the movie's kind of taken out. It's like you know how it's made, a magician's act. Once you know the secret and everything, it's like that's pretty easy, or that's pretty simple. But
that's simple.
But before you know, it's like, wait, what the fuck? It's like how and I bet, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't ruin the entire movie, but I think it kind of like a menu thing where it's like if you know so much about food and you just know all the theory and whatever, it's like kind of ruins the art of it a little bit if you just know how it's done.
I think it's
to
different
a degree,
with movies. I think it's different. I think it helps you realize how difficult it is to make a movie and how the final product you get from a movie is so different. I think what can ruin movies is being on the business side of it, which Manny was. Being an executive and being in the studio system, being like, you don't get to experience the creative freedoms. You are answering to somebody and you report down and you actually limit creatives and you tell them what to do, and you are putting a dampener on what they are capable of. And it's kind of, I think there's a revival of his spirit at the end when he realizes movies are going to continue and they're going to be better without what they were doing.
Yeah. Father Time. It's it may seem on your end that because we will lose. We will lose against Father Time, and it may seem that it's a loss for everybody, but no, it's just for us at the time. It will continue on. Movies, we still got good movies now. I can say all these things and wish to go back or wish things can be that way, but
we've got fucking fantastic. We got this movie 2 years ago.
Like even this year alone, I'm seeing movies that I'm saying that are like my favorites of all time. So it's like, I'm not worried.
Better,
I guess I'm not worried that cinema's over. If anything, I've been revitalized. I've been like boom. Like I feel like we're getting there. It's back.
I mean, it's an art form now. Like once it becomes an art, it doesn't die. Like what could die is giant budget. Sorry about that. I don't know if you could hear that. Giant budget, big, massive films. Like, but when that goes away, it's not like cameras stop existing. It's not like people stop wanting to tell stories. We just get lower budget personal stories that and inevitably it will reemerge back into being this again, Like that's one of the things that I wish the spirit of like the Renaissance era would persist into filmmaking now. And it does on the creative side, but not on the money side of things. Rich people used to commission artworks. They used to be like, paint this for me. I will pay you this much money. Make this movie. I will pay you this much money. I will make this movie happen. Like I wish that was a little bit more of a common thread, like when it came to, there's a movie coming out in a few months by Francis Ford Coppola, Megalopolis, coming out at the end of the year. Pretty much entirely self-financed. Nobody would produce this movie for Francis Ford Coppola. Francis Ford Coppola had to front the money entirely on his own, pretty much.
Wow.
We're talking about a dude who made the Godfather trilogy and Apocalypse Now. What the fuck do you mean he couldn't find anybody to finance his movie? You know what I'm saying? That's insane. And so that's why whenever creatives are just given the keys, whenever Damien Chazelle is able to make a Babylon, whenever Spielberg is able to make a Fabelmans, or there was one more recently that George Miller gets to make Fury Road. I feel like that was the one where I was just like, let loose, do whatever the fuck you want, It's invigorating. It's inspiring. Like you've made something that only you could have made, and someone gave you the capability to do that. Like you were able to do that and it sucks that it requires money, but it does. It's an expensive art form.
Yeah. It's a massive part of it. It's just undeniable. There's nothing we can really change about that unless there's a lot bigger changes that have to happen first for money not to be the factor. But yeah, no, sure. They had that. They're renting out the I don't know. It'd be nice if we just had like a massive studio, just like a communal movie studio. Like I don't know how that works, but that's kind of tough. But like I feel like the volume and like now that like we have technologies to where you can do a lot of the work beforehand, and like I don't know, it could be really maybe that is the next big switch. Like we are going through another big change in movies. I don't feel like it's as big as sound being introduced, but I feel like there is a next step. Like I feel like whether it's 50 years or however long. Like I wonder what that next biggest step in movie watching is.
That isn't. I mean, maybe 4D or something like that.
I
They're
feel like
already
it's
trying
like
to do something like that.
VR somehow. You know, like imagine if a whole movie was filmed with a 360 camera and you are the camera moving. Like maybe that would be too motion. I don't know, or like I don't know how that really works to view a movie like that. But I see that's kind of the only next jump is like whenever it's not on a screen anymore and you're in the movie somehow.
Yeah.
Well,
but that's why I think IMAX is kind of the pinnacle of what we are capable of doing in a satisfying manner. I mean, because you're talking about they're all renting out cameras and stuff. When it comes to IMAX, now a lot of stuff is made to be in IMAX. There are only 8 IMAX cameras.
Wait. In the world?
In the world, there are only 8
and
IMAX
Nolan has
cameras.
Broken 3 of them, isn't that right?
Yes, he has broken 3.
He's
IMAX
almost broken
cameras.
half of what we have total now. That's
yeah.
Whoa, that is
No, so like whenever a movie gets played in IMAX, and you're like, this feels like it's blimped, like it's blown up to fit the screen. It is. It's not. It wasn't filmed for IMAX. Like Challengers showed in IMAX. Wasn't filmed for IMAX. Oppenheimer was filmed for IMAX. Like that is. It was filmed with the IMAX cameras. The next movie that's getting filmed with the IMAX cameras is the Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan vampire movie that they're making. I don't know if you've heard about that. That is the next movie using the IMAX cameras. So it is cool to know that, like, because IMAX is a corporation all unto itself. It is its own company. It's not just a format. It's not just like you can watch it in IMAX. No, like it is.
It's like Dolby
IMAX
Atmos
exists.
or...
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Wow. That is kind
so
of sucks.
to go back to that,
but...
we're renting out cameras and we're, it is communal, like, but there is a competition to it, like Warner Brothers got it for this vampire movie, but Universal had it for Oppenheimer, and like it's kind of like how do you?
It's a war. It's almost it's almost like they're at war with each other all the time. Wow,
and that's where like how do we thrive most in the arts? Like I do like the idea that capitalism breeds innovation, supposedly. Like that's and. I'd say obviously there's a degree of that in film, but there's also a degree of it in film that's obviously detrimental to the process of movie making, where it's like, okay, well, if we just pooled our resources, if we were communal about making movies, who knows what kind of movies we could make, so it's a give and take. We don't know what those movies would be like because we don't have those movies. They don't exist, it is all competition. That's why Barbie's release date was the same day as Oppenheimer's, was because Christopher Nolan left Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers wanted to sun his movie. They didn't know they would end up making the biggest double feature of all time. So like that's one of those examples where like sometimes it works out. Like it's just it's bizarre. We live in such a strange time for art and creation that it's. There's a give and take. There's a lot of good. There is a lot of bad. But, every once in a while it gives us a Babylon or something like it. So I adore this movie. It's one of those ones I wish I would have caught on the big screen. But the 3-hour, 9-minute thing does make it difficult.
Yeah, that is kind of the only downside, really, is that it is just a little lengthy. But as far as what's happening in the movie, I want in a movie. This is it feels like this. I still want to rewatch it. It is 3 hours, and I know that I can't just go back and just right now. It is a time where you do have to block out, a night and whatever.
Yeah.
But I know I want to rewatch it now. So I have all these characters ins now, and I just want to see their complete development without all of the me trying to figure it out during the middle of the movie, because that scene where I'm thinking someone's going to yell cut and it's, them, no, I love you, I want to marry you and all this. It's like, it would be nice to not have those thoughts at all and just be able to experience the movie. But visual, like, I guess there weren't many shots in like that I particularly or usually like, which is like stand still, like I can pause and boom. It was a lot of them were in motion, like
Very kinetic,
yes,
camera. Yeah.
and I like a lot of them. I just that those were a lot of the ones that impressed me this time. Were not really ones like, ooh, that's like a wallpaper and really pretty. It was just like, thank you, like I like just letting the actor act and just
Letting
moving
it
the
go,
camera with
yeah.
them. And but the shot I ended up going with was Margot Robbie. I don't like it. It is kind of a fourth wall break of like, yeah, she's having to cry on set and like, but it's, no, she can't do that. It's not but it's like she's acting. It is, I don't know. It feels like a fourth wall break, but it's not. But like her just first cry and then how like everyone gets silent, but just I don't know. It just kind of slowly gets closer and closer to her face. You watch it happen and boom. So I put that down before it showed the actual what the camera showed though, in the black and white one. So I don't know which one to go with, the one that we saw
The
or
black and white
the
one's
black and white
fucking
one.
gorgeous.
I
Though.
think I have
Yeah,
to go
like,
with the black and white one because it
it's
just
unbelievable to look at.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's I don't know. That'll be my shot for the movie. But
I love that.
yeah.
Yeah. Mine, I did go with. I mean, it's just a fantastic visual storytelling beat. It's when Jack pulls up to the showing of his new movie, and they're all laughing on the inside. It's the shot when he's walking up in the hall outside, and there's a split down the middle, and on the right is the movie and the theater. And I think it's just a really good representation of him being outside of this world. He'll never, he can't access it again. He can't get back to it. Not only that, but it is also fucking gorgeous to look at. He's silhouetted. He's in the yellow and white lights of outside, and then
He's all incognito, like because he's undercover, like his outfit. Yeah. Man, yeah, they're not to say that there weren't visually pretty in wallpaper.
Oh no, like when Margot Robbie runs outside at the beginning of the movie, and you see it from the perspective of Manny through the doorway, and then following her out there and stuff. Like that's gorgeous, and I love the like purplish hue they put on shadows in this movie. I like that. I liked the color grading a lot. It's kind of it's funny, like we've talked about in weeks past, Katie O'Brien last week was the example of like wow, sometimes you shoot her like she's, and we did it with Ingmar Bergman a few weeks back, and I compared her to, Kate Winslet in Titanic. They do a similar thing with Margot Robbie, of course. Margot Robbie's stunning. The person who gets treated like they're the most beautiful person alive is Diego Calva, though.
Yeah.
Manny looks fucking hot. And they shoot him like he is fucking beautiful a lot of the time.
I feel like they shoot Margot's body and like whenever she's dancing and doing kinetic things a lot better, and like that's whenever she shines. But man, did Manny just like
they would sit on his face for a while, and they would hold the camera on his face for a while, I should say, and it would just be fucking gorgeous, like when he is watching Margot after he says, I think I'm in love with you. Like he'd met her earlier that night, and then she runs away, she drives away. He's like, don't worry, it's not my car. She goes away, and he just watches her drive away. And that shot, I was like, he's fucking gorgeous, man. And they shoot him like he is. And I absolutely love when they do stuff like that. There's just so much beautiful imagery with Diego Calva where I absolutely adore the way he looks in this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel character. I was a little bit torn just to who to go with, but I think Manny. I don't know. I did really like him and his story, just the arc he went on, like, and just him like he got out. At least he didn't do some things that he did just do what he had to do, but like it was nice that he had a family. It was nice that we did see a daughter and a wife, and like, it's okay, and I'll stay for a while. Talking to that cop, like, hey, yeah, I used to work here, and whatever.
That was cute.
And like, and then him sitting in the theater, like, I was like, oh my god, this feels. It just felt so good. It was like what a great ending to the movie, and his whole story, like, because he at the beginning, What was his job at the very, very beginning? He kind of like was responsible for getting the elephant there. It felt like
he's kind of a. I mean, he's
Like an
he
anything
works for
man?
a studio executive.
okay.
But it's more of an assistant capacity.
Yeah.
Not even really.
Just like if I
Not
need
even
something
as it
done.
concerns to the movies. Just like we're throwing a party. Here's what I need from you tonight.
Okay. Yeah, because
Go let this elephant shit on your boy for a little bit.
he just I don't know how he ended up at Jack's house, or if that was
He
his
needed,
house.
Jack was passed out. He needed a ride
He
home.
just okay, so he's taking him home. Okay,
Life-changing ride
and,
home.
yeah, and I one of my lines I thought it was pretty funny. It's after they get there, he has all of his clothes off. He's standing at the edge of his balcony or like edge of the balcony something, and he just falls off the roof, like completely backwards, and he just all right. And I'm going to bed. He's like, he's just like, I think I've had enough for one night. And
then he's up and at him before Manny is. He's like, "All right, let's go. We're going down to the set." He even remembers the night before. Like I remember that being a concern for me. It was like, is he going to remember that he told Manny he could come to the set with him and stuff? But no, he's like, "Come on, man, we're going to the set."
Let's go. Yep.
He's in the shit. Yeah, no, I love that scene, and yeah, no, it's super fucking fun, man. One of my other favorite lines, just a repeated line. Ain't life grand?
The first time it was, she got her part. She's like, I'm going on a set. Like, ain't life grand? And then the last one.
It's right before she walks into the darkness. Yeah.
Damn it.
No, it's
that did suck. Oh, and yeah, the other line potential I had was the director. I think after all the crying and everything, and just like, holy shit, you're out. She's like, how do you do it? Like, or whatever. And she goes, I just think of home. And I was just like, oh, damn. I'm like, oh, like that was a oof. And I think the director kind of had like the response that like it was perfect. But yeah, I mean, very clearly Margot Robbie is the performance here. Like, I mean, just in the party too. Like, imagine being Diego Calva, like he just has to stand there and let Margot Robbie dance all over him, and like in the party, like the dude just has the best job in the world at that time. He's like,
right.
oh, and he doesn't even have to act. He's just like, like this is real life, like right now. And
there's a shot of her dancing that they cut. It's like they're shooting up at her as like balloons fall around her, and she's doing a body roll, and it's just like, it's a gorgeous fucking image that's just brilliantly designed. And yeah, no, she's incredible. Pretty much at every stage of this movie, when she puts on the whole go fuck yourselves, you're no better than me, that whole scene, the end when she does go to whenever she goes to Manny's house,
I fucked up, and
like
that
she's
whole,
good the whole fucking time.
Mm-hmm. High on coke, she's good at crying, she's good at partying, she's good at dancing, she's good at just looking extremely attractive at all points. Not even just her, like everyone in the movie's this is just a sexy movie. Like this is
everyone's
just
hot.
Yeah, and that party at the beginning, like that, like I mean, whoa. And the elephant, I thought, I mean, that's like all the breaks we would get from the music. We'd literally go to the band and they'd be like, so we're just supposed to play when the elephant, or like whenever it, I don't even think they say elephant. I think they're just like, whenever it comes in, or
it's
like,
going to start
yeah,
stomping
like,
around. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to get in, I can't get in. She's like, you fucking puss. It's like, and then we just cut to it actually happening, and they're just playing away, and I think it ends with like the elephant, like basically getting right to where the band is, or like you see the trumpets or something.
They love Damien Chazelle and Justin Hurwitz love those shots of the trumpet. There's a lot of that in La La Land too, where they go in on the
on the underneath of like
mouth,
the trumpets,
the mouth of the trumpet. They like zoom in on it or something. I feel like they do that a lot. But yeah, no, I adore this movie. My favorite scene, I haven't actually said officially, is the snake fight. I love the snake fight. Whenever she's like, all of you are fucking pussies. Nobody's going to fight the fucking snake, huh? Nobody. Fine. I'll fight the snake. And everyone's like, whoa, 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 no, 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 no. Like, we don't think anybody should fight the snake now.
Yeah.
If your dad was going to volunteer to do it, that's fine. But, like, nobody gives a fuck about your dad. We all love you, Nellie, so stop that.
She was honestly trying to, like, kill her dad right there, too. It felt like it was
Yes,
kind of
yeah.
just like, yeah, if he bites you, all right, whatever. But yeah, it just, passes out. Isn't that Falcone in The Dark Knight? I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like I know him from somewhere else, though. Other than that, I don't know why. I felt like there was one other thing that he popped up in, but Falcone. That was just the image going back in my mind that this is in another universe. Falcone just being a
Moocher.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Just I don't know. I wanted him to, like, I was kind of disappointed when he passed out, and I thought the snake was even gonna go still bite him, and like,
Right.
did he just die there? Like, he just passed out of, or like, we never.
Yeah, but I don't know that he's in much more of the movie after that. That's a good point. I don't think he dies. I think we would have spent a little time on
probably.
that.
Yeah. But basically, died.
Nah, she
in the
almost
movie.
dies. That's the part that really gets me is whenever the snake bites her neck, she screams, everyone screams, they all run around. And it all goes serene for a moment because this is where Jack thrives. Like Jack's like the chaos.
He's like,
I love it.
This is it. I'm back on a movie set. Yeah, and only if there could be a camera, I guess, right there.
I'm so sorry for everybody listening. I know you can't hear them. You absolutely can on my recording, though. My dogs are barking like a motherfucker, and I apologize. They have been for several minutes, and I apologize to anyone listening. I know that is not exactly what you want to hear when you listen to a podcast, but I can't do anything about it. They're dogs; they'll bark. But yeah, no, that whole scene culminating with Lady Faye sucking the venom out of her neck and spitting it out, sucking it out, spitting it out, sucking it out, spitting it out, and then Nellie waking up and kissing Lady Faye because she desperately wanted to minutes ago before they were interrupted by the cannonball, and realizing she almost died without kissing her and being like, well, now that's going to be the first fucking thing I do.
Yeah.
Like, and I wish we could have spent a little more time with them. That would have been ideal.
Yeah, that was a very it was that she was just kind of fired and gone and out and not really a part of the movie. And I guess maybe that is the point, is that the studio's decision, and once she's out, she is out, and that is why we don't have much. But it would have been nice if like they tried to somehow, maybe that was the story, is that like even though the studio's telling them not to, they still tried outside, or try to do it in secret or something. But I mean her end as well, like she kind of knew Jack was going to do what he did almost. Like I felt like that there was a shot of after that conversation and Jack's just kind of like, yeah, I'm through. I had my good time, whatever. She kind of hesitates to leave. She kind of like waits a little bit and doesn't go.
Well, I mean, before he says, like, she asks, she's like, "You okay, Jack?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's like,
but then at the end, like whenever she's walking away, she looks back, and maybe it is just like this might be the last time I'm looking at him, or like maybe because earlier in the movie, Jack asked her, "Hey, go cheer this guy up. He really needs it. Go cheer George up. He really needs it." And maybe that's her thought. Maybe she was having that thought of like that he's that guy now or something.
Right, like she needed to go talk to him, or there could be any number of things there. That the culmination of the movie and the snake fight. It's my favorite part of the movie. I mean, visually it's beautiful too. The way her shadow towers over the snake there through the lights. I think that's really cool. But
another kiss that just felt right. Like kind of with Love Lies Bleeding, like hey, I just shot you full of testosterone in the butt. Now we kiss. It's like, well, if you suck snake venom out of my neck and save my life, and
we're probably gonna kiss.
Yeah, like even if they didn't have that previous experience and like that kiss that was lost, I feel like that just happens anyways. It's kind of like, well, goddamn, maybe Margot, or maybe I don't know. Do you think she even realized what happened, or it was just I woke up, I see you, I kiss you, like sort of like.
I think there's a good chance that she wakes up next to Lady Faye, and it's like she's not letting anything get in the way this time. Like, let's go ahead and get this done. Because I mean, like, whenever they nearly kiss, she like sprints out of there. She goes to the bathroom, and she's like,
yeah.
She's like, oh my God, I've seen the fucking light. There's all the answers I've needed forever. Oh my God,
man.
I like ladies, and being like, there, and like just that whole thing, and then it being interrupted by dudes outside being like, she fucking sucks. Oh my God, have you heard about her new movie? They're trying to fucking get her out of there. But, and that's when she's like, you know what? Let's see you fight a fucking snake, Dad. Who wants to see my dad fight a snake? And then Brad Pitt starts that chant, a snake's getting fought. A snake's getting fought. I fucking love that.
Well, yeah, I mean, parties. Why not? Like, whenever she's like, who wants to see a snake get fought? No, everyone's like, wait, like, what? Like, what does that even really... And then it takes Jack to be like...
yeah.
And then everyone's like, yeah, sure, why not? I didn't think that they literally all would have to convoy out to the desert.
And they're just gonna drive until they find a fucking snake. They didn't know where they were gonna find a snake. They were just like, let's go find a fucking snake.
Why not?
And I love that all of them were so down to ride. Like, that's a memory that they will all cherish until the day they die.
They will remember
some
that.
of them sooner than later.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was. I love this movie. I will be a Babylon truther forever. Enjoy Babylon to no end. But do we feel we've done the movie justice? Do we feel it is time to get on with her?
I think so. Yes, I think all the favorites at least have been said.
I mean, it's a big fucking movie.
Yeah.
It's like I know we probably missed some stuff, but I almost forgot my favorite scene. That was the last thing we talked about. So like, that's how big of a movie it is.
A lot happens, yeah.
A lot happens, but goddamn, is it a good fucking time and a sad fucking time, but a good fucking time ultimately. But yeah, with that, I'm gonna do the plugs. But after the plugs, stick around because we are going to rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 10. We are going to do our albums of the week, and then I will announce what next week's cinema surprise will be, and I'm very excited for that. But yeah, so if you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where you'll find over 100 hours of exclusive content, all sorts of book reviews, comic book reviews, movie reviews, and the like. You can also get early access content and the series we've been working on titled The Penny Bloom Dispatch, which is a little bit more timely, weekly sort of thing where we talk about news and arts and the entertainments and stuff like that. And Joseph's been doing his science and
archaeology.
I wanted to go with anthropology, and I knew that wasn't right.
Not quite
science
yet.
And archaeology. Yeah. Not quite anthropology yet, but maybe one day. So we, it's a little bit of everything. It's taking both mine and Joe's biggest interests and melding it into one thing. And that's available free on Patreon, by the way. You do not have to pay for that. It's just Patreon exclusive. You go to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod. You subscribe. It is there. You can follow us on Twitter at Penny Bloom Pod. Follow on Instagram and TikTok at Penny Bloom Podcast. You can watch on YouTube now. Look up Penny Bloom Podcast, and we are there. And that applies for the Cinema Surprise as well. All of it's under the Penny Bloom banner right now. But who knows going forward in the future. Yeah, so let's rate this thing. How are we feeling?
Well, I don't know. I think enjoyment-wise, as far as how it made me cry, I like the message it is sending as much. I want this to be a 10, but I know it's not a 10 for me. I think it is the runtime, and I don't know what to clip out. I don't hate anything. It's not like I'm like, this is just dragging, but there's something there that I don't know why. It's not quite the 10, but I know I'm in the 9s, I guess. I know, like, I think and maybe like John Wick 1 is a 9. I'm enjoying this more than John Wick 1. Yeah. I'm enjoying this more than John Wick 1. And like, I think the highest we gave John Wick was Oh, I don't.
925.
Yeah, I
for
think
John Wick
4. Yeah. So and
Yeah, I'm north of that too.
I think
like my floor is a 9.5.
9.5.
9.5 is about where I'm hovering.
I think it feels right. Because 9, I guess, did we give, Casablanca was 10s. I guess you gave Love Lies Bleeding a 9.5. So I don't know if like same level for you or
about,
little above.
Right. No, I couldn't tell you I like this movie a little bit more than Love Lies Bleeding.
Okay.
They're about the same. I wouldn't go below Love Lies Bleeding. That's kind of like it's right there for me. So my gut took me 9.5.
I think I'm also there. So I guess no average really needed there. But the difference for me, like I gave Love Lies Bleeding an 8.75. I think I can pretty confidently say I enjoy Babylon more. I think I will, just as I don't know, just a whole lot more going on there. But as an overall movie, that the 3 hour, I don't know, it could kind of equal it out. But I think I do give it the bump above.
The edge.
Yeah.
No, so. I can't blame you there. Love Lies Bleeding just resonates with me to a degree. But critically, I think this is also a really good movie. I think it's well edited. It's fantastically scored. It's very well performed. The place where it could be better, I suppose, is writing. I think that it spends a lot of time on stuff that maybe it doesn't need to spend time on, and there are places where the story could have improved and the 3 hours could have been a little more warranted if we spent it in different spots. I appreciate that the point of the first sound scene is that it's taking forever. That scene's a little long.
Yeah, I got the point pretty quick. Yeah, it was you get it.
You get the idea.
And everything.
And I think with some and the editing is good for a lot of the movie, but with like a really well edited sequence, you could have gotten the longevity of that scene, the feeling of it without it actually being that long. And there's a couple things like that, I think that it's excessive and it is indulgent, and there are points where it does work to its benefit a great deal, and there are points where it's a little bit of a detriment. It takes a little bit away from it. But I still find myself high 8s at minimum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess we arrived at an 8 average for Love Lies Bleeding last week. I think that's the closest comparison we have, I think, here. It's not Casablanca. I think we know we're not quite there. But I feel like I'm like about a half, like 8.25, 8.5. Maybe,
yeah.
I mean, at 8.75, that's seeming where it's a little bit too high. So maybe 8.5 is kind of.
I'm cool with an 8.5 as well. That's about where I come down.
Okay.
I think that it's a great movie. I think it's a great movie. I think it gets undersold by a lot of people.
Then, with that, a 9.5 and an 8.5, it's an 88.3%. So pretty dang good. Love Lies Bleeding was an 84. So little 4% boost there. I feel like I can get behind that. It's very that I feel like that is its closest comparison though, for sure.
Yeah.
On this project so far. But
it made the top 5 for Cinema Surprise.
And then I was like,
we've covered 5.
I was gonna, I mean, because I feel like I'm pretty confident Book of Eli will remain at 5. I don't know what you're cooking. I don't think you'll pick a movie that we like worse.
No,
and that will be worse.
I mean, when it comes to my, I'm like, I think that it'll in fact get bounced.
I feel like that is the bottom, but I know this will be the interesting range here. I feel like these
Casablanca,
movies here.
Love Lies Bleeding, Babylon. This is the range we're rocking with, and but yeah, at an 88%, Babylon rounds out to a nice and high score for us. But with that, let's do an album of the week. How you feeling? What's your album of the week?
Yeah, and it feels nice whenever there is one that's connected to the movie. I don't know why that feels better. It just does. And this one, I wanted to do something in the movie, and I looked into it, and it made it very clear. Let's see, Sidney, what was his last? Palmer, Sidney Palmer, in the movie, I guess was based off of a real life artist who was born in Kansas City, Missouri, named Curtis Mosby. And Curtis Mosby doesn't have much music available online to listen to. There's not many albums that you can play from him, but he does have one on Spotify. There is 14 tracks that he is credited to. 25 in total. It's him and Henry Starr, and that's the name of it. Is Curtis Mosby and Henry Starr. And it was just some nice smooth jazz at some points, and then some very uppity
Brash,
and
big band.
and you gotta dance and you're, I don't know, it's very kinetic. The Weary Stomp, and I don't know, it seems like his most popular. That's, if you look up his name, it seems that's the one that comes up every time. But it was very I don't know, kinetic and dancey jazz, but then there's a lot of just smooth and nice. It was very nice just to put on in the background and have some jazz going. So and nice to know that it's some Kansas City native jazz. So
love that. Yeah, no, and I couldn't branch too far from this movie for my album of the week either, as Babylon's score is one of my favorites, period. So I'm going Babylon, the original motion picture soundtrack by Justin Hurwitz. I absolutely adore this score. I think that, it has those moments too. I love Manny and Nelly's theme. I love their theme, and I love that the party music is basically it, just sped up, which is, and brash and loud and bold, and I think that that's really, really cool. There's so many great songs. It's like an hour and a half long score, so like it's no joke.
Wow, there you go.
It's a lot of
over
music.
Half of the movie.
A lot of music,
which I bet you can't really say for other like, well, I don't know. I guess like percentage score, like coverage of the whole movie.
Probably about half, if not a little less. But doing that in a 3-hour movie is impressive. It's usually reusing music that you've already like there is music. There's new music for everything. Now there is a lot of reprisals, a different take on the same music, but it's really strong. So I like that. Curtis Mosby and what was the other gentleman?
And Henry Starr, I guess is
Henry
is the
Starr.
other, yeah. But
Curtis Mosby and Henry Starr and the Babylon soundtrack. So good couple albums of the week. And with that, we will announce what is next on Cinema Surprise. I told you off mic, I don't think it was on mic, that if you ever went with a movie that you had not seen, I would do the same thing. And I'm excited because I have never seen it. I do, however, own it. It was on my Letterboxd watch list, and my lovely girlfriend was kind enough to go through my watch list when it was around our birthday or my birthday or our anniversary, sometime in that range, and pick stuff that I hadn't watched yet to own physically. And I was super excited to finally crack one of these open. I'm super excited. Next week's Cinema Surprise is Cure. 1997, C-U-R-E, directed by Kiyoshi Kurosawa, no relation.
no relation.
No relation. I'm very excited. This is, I've heard it's a dark one. It's a little more, it's a little different than the things we've covered. I like that we've had this, back and forth in tone, a lot of different stuff. Love Lies Bleeding was pretty dark, don't get me wrong, but this is a different kind of dark, I think, as far as what I've heard. And I'm excited. It's also our first foreign film on the Cinema Surprise so far. And I'm very happy to be bringing us Cure by Kiyoshi Kurosawa next Friday on Cinema Surprise.
I like going in completely. I didn't even really read the synopsis. I got murder. That was the only line or word I got out of it, and I'll keep it at that.
Murder.
But it looks good. We'll see if they can fill the Kurosawa shoes. That's no relation,
big
but
name.
Big. Yeah, that's a kind of. I don't know. I wonder if it's just worked for them in the industry. If it's just well. Maybe it just gets them noticed more.
Take a
I don't
shot
know.
on
It's
this guy. His name's Kurosawa.
They got it in its blood.
Could
It's
be,
it's in their blood. So, but let's go.
Cure.
Cure.
So, Cure. I'm very excited. So that will be next week here on Cinema Surprise and on the Penny Bloom Podcast flagship show on next Monday. We will be continuing Fire and Bloom, our coverage of House of the Dragon Season 2, with Season 2, Episode 4. That is the new episode coming out next week, and we will be covering it. So on the Penny Bloom Podcast, you got Fire and Bloom. Here on Cinema Surprise, you've got Cure coming next week, and I am so very excited. With that, we will conclude this episode. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And ain't life grand?